Voice. True strength is found in quiet confidence. At Wedemark Keith, we don't boast about our achievements. Our results speak volumes. Wedemark Keith, because it's more to us, it's personal.
Can you imagine anything more difficult than being a child all of a sudden pulled from your home to no fault of your own because of a domestic situation, and you're not quite sure where to turn or who's going to be there to support you in the days, months, and maybe even the years to come? It's a real thing that happens across the country all of the time, and this morning we're focusing on some good work that's happening in the state of Georgia, talking with representatives from CASA of Lookout Mountain, Jeff Rolls, who is the executive director, retired judge Bryant Henry. So good to see you both.
Thank you for having us.
So this is true. I mean, we have it in Tennessee. It's an organization called CASA, which stands for what, Jeff?
Court Appointed Special Advocate.
It's a national organization?
It is a national organization.
Intended really to help children who are basically entering the foster care system while they're in that care, to have an advocate on their side. Is that right?
That's correct. A CASA volunteer is that one stable person that child can go to. So, you know, through the process, they will be assigned to CASA. The juvenile court judge assigns a CASA at their discretion, and that CASA volunteer will walk that child through the judicial proceedings and those types of things. They'll gather information from the Family and Children Services and different service providers, the counselors for the child, medical doctors, and basically what they do with that is they take that information and they'll make a recommendation to the juvenile court.
This is volunteer driven?
It is
CASAs are volunteers, is that correct?
Correct.
So when you were on the bench, I know you're now the board chair for CASA Lookout Mountain, but in your years on the bench, did you ever have a need to appoint a CASA and not have anyone available?
Well, generally you're appointing a guardian ad litem, which a CASA is a lay guardian ad litem. And that can be an attorney could serve as an attorney and a guardian ad litem.
Okay.
So the law requires that a child have a guardian ad litem in every case. So if there's no conflict between what the child wants to do and what the attorney thinks is best for the child, then they can serve in that capacity. But in situations where there's perhaps the child has greater needs than the attorney can address, or there's a difference of opinion as to what's in the best interest of the child, then we look to CASAs and programs. But we need volunteers. We would like to serve every child who would benefit from the services of a CASA.
So are these appointed as soon as a child, Jeff, comes into the foster care program?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
It may be at a different hearing that they're appointed, because you have to have an adjudication hearing to find the child deprived or dependent. And so if that child remains in foster care after the adjudicatory hearing, then they can be assigned to CASA.
If you come in as a sibling group, there are 3 children removed from a home, does each child receive his or her own CASA? Or is it done as a unit? As
a unit.
Okay. Yeah. Even if the children are not placed in the same foster home?
Correct, yeah. Okay. A CASA volunteer can take up to 2 families. They can represent 2 families.
So who, if you're in need of volunteers, what type of person is best suited for this?
Well, 21 years of age, and I think there's maybe a misconception out there of, you know, that you have to have a college degree to be a volunteer. You don't. You do not have to. We have this saying at Lookout Mountain CASA, and it's just be present. You know, be present for that child. And so anybody can be a CASA volunteer that's at least 21 years of age and can pass a background check.
You train them, right? 30 hours of training goes into it?
We do. There's 30 hours of classroom training, and there's court observation of juvenile court. And we actually have an upcoming class in July, starting July 9th.
So if people, we'll show them how they can get in touch with you, but they can call or go online and sign up for that class?
They
Is that
can.
right?
We have a website,
Okay.
lookoutmountainCASA.com.
Which we'll show you before this is over. Have you watched Judge Henry in your years? Have you seen real bonds between CASA representatives and the kids?
Absolutely. CASA can make an enormous difference in the welfare of the child because they're involved with the child more regularly than the court. Things happen outside of court. They come into court. The judge sees the child just for a short period of time, and the CASAs they have to visit with the child at least once a month, and they form a bond and form a relationship that oftentimes continues after the case is over.
Well, everyone needs an advocate in their corner, and that's what this is providing.
It is
So,
very important.
Very
important
important.
mission.
Here is the website, lookoutmountaincasa.com. It was kind of a hiccupy conversation a little bit because it's a different way of looking at the system than many of us are familiar with. So I'd love for you to come back if you can, and we'll talk again.
Sure, love to.
402-0843 is the number.
One thing particularly that having a CASA, it gives that child a voice in the proceedings. It gives that child somebody to speak on their behalf about what's going on and impacting their lives.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for having us.
Come see us at Providence Home Furnishings in Lafayette for affordable new furniture for every home. Now open with prices that are worth the drive. All proceeds benefit Providence Ministry.